Coming to you from Orange County, California, this is the JuggLife podcast with Max Ada and Chad Wesley Smith. Hey everybody, Chad Wesley Smith here, bringing you another episode of the JuggLife podcast. Joined as always, Miracle Max Montana.
How you guys doing?
And our special guest, all the way from the bayous of Louisiana,
Took my P-roll the whole way here.
Matt, the not-so-fat owl, Vincent.
I like less fat.
Slim owl?
Yeah, no, just less fat owl.
Lean owl?
I've lost 50 pounds, and I basically look like a guy who should start a cut. Like, oh, you finished bulking. That's nice. Let's quit being gross now. I'm like,
Well,
it's the best I've ever been.
Yeah, I'm sitting right here, so I don't take any of that as personal offense. But how many weeks out?
Right now?
Junior Nats.
Yeah, how many weeks out from Junior Nats?
I think if I did a really good water purge, is that what they call it?
Yeah, sure.
I'll up my salt, do a water purge, throw in some carbs and some AM cardio, 15, 16 hours.
That's okay. So you're ready. Oh,
Good sweat. That's really what I need.
I don't even know if mine would. I don't think it would be measured in weeks nor months. It would be how many years out?
It's moon cycles. It's based on moon phases.
Like probably not even Earth's moon.
Like when's Easter?
Yeah,
Same type of deal.
Yeah. What's the Olympics after Tokyo?
We're on a prep.
Yeah. So 21st century.
Yeah.
Yeah. Today's podcast is brought to you by Black Pudding and Shot Pudding. That's a Highland Games lifestyle, especially in honor of Matt. And that was from our YouTube fan, Andrew Taylor. So let's just go ahead and dive right into it. Tell us a little bit about your athletic background.
I've done a bunch of stuff.
Varied and decorated.
It's moderately of all things. I've been surprisingly average at a number of sports. I was average enough at shot putting to get a walk-on and then turn a scholarship at LSU. Never good enough to say go to nationals or do anything like that, but did well at SECs. Like took a third at SECs is probably the best I ever did. Shot put, discus, hammer was okay at all three, and then finished up college and did a few years of strongman and was super average at that. Could probably, I think, top 10 nationally would have been my probably best year. And then did some powerlifting, super average at that as well.
And what variety of powerlifting?
I've done raw. I did APF, did full gear. Those are the only two options. I don't understand anything in between those.
I remember you telling me about, you got this huge carryover.
Bench shirt, I'm
raw
sweet.
shirted bench, right?
Yeah. Sweet raw bench of a 4 1/4, shirted 700.
Wow.
Nice.
The technician.
Yeah, the meet I hit 700. My opener at 6 was a 15-pound PR. So things rode out nice.
He likes to go with my attempt selection.
That's
strategy.
incredible.
Yeah, we'll just double it.
700 shirted bench with a 4
I was
1/4
super
raw.
nervous.
What does that feel like? Would you try? Have you tried any weight like that before it?
I think I had gone like 650 to boards in
And
training.
you were just like, put 7 on there.
Well, because
How
we
many
hit
attempts?
6 and it
Yeah.
went really well. I was like 675.
That was
So-
multiply or single?
Oh, multiply
course.
as much as possible.
The
Yeah, it wouldn't be
multiest.
single.
There's no just a tip in my idea of
Right.
there's either gear or we don't have gear.
Right.
I don't understand the
Right,
halfway
right.
between. So
Oh, yeah.
let's balls to the walls it.
Because
And-
when you and I first met, I had just opened Juggernaut. So it was
Yeah.
2009, late 2009, early 2010.
Yeah.
And you were
I
deep,
just started Highland Games.
yeah, but you were deep into the Elite FTS multiply.
Oh, yeah.
Like those were all your buddies, right?
Yeah, hanging out with Windler and Peg. And
We've had you. It was you, me, Peg.
we went to Outback.
Outback Steakhouse
nice.
in London, Ohio. Or
It's a nice place. Yeah, that
Nothing
time.
but the best,
Yeah, I was
nothing
training
but
with
the
Gary
best.
Frank at that time in
Oh, yeah.
Louisiana, and that was interesting. And it was fun. I enjoyed doing the geared stuff because I liked the training was cool because I wasn't going to the bar at the time, and so like I got to go. I got to go hang out with like a couple dudes and have
them help you put your underwear on.
Basically, yeah. Like I'm gonna knock out 6 singles and bench tonight over 5 hours. It's gonna be a real rocker.
Gary Frank is someone who, you know, the kids watching are
Have
probably
no idea.
no one knows
Time's past him.
one of the freakiest athletes
freaks,
of all time.
Yeah.
I mean, 67-foot shot putter, 68-foot shot
Standing.
putter. Yeah.
Wow.
With a sweet 69-foot full
Yeah.
full throw. Was a national champion shot putter.
At Ole Miss or
Yeah.
and then went
No,
to
Mississippi State.
Mississippi State. Then NFL Combine.
Yeah.
Dude was like 6'4", 345, and like a 4'7".
Yeah, one of the fastest 40 times of all time.
Wow.
And then in powerlifting, he was the first guy, all equipped, but first guy, I think, 2,400, 2,500, 2,600,
27 and 28.
He pulled 9 also?
Yeah.
Yeah, pulled 931.
931.
He-
Very strong, man.
Yeah, he was a dude that I wish, I mean, I don't know if people
He's a savage.
People are aware of this. I'm not a real big fan of multiply powerlifting, but a guy I really wish that Raw was the thing then to just see what Gary Frank would have done, because he is, I mean, all time just
an amazing, a very amazing, interesting guy. Gary, training program, he's one of those, to me, is an example of like a complete freak. Like the guy's just a freak.
Yeah.
And a really, really genetically talented freak guy doesn't necessarily make the best coach.
Yeah.
Now, he could do technical stuff, but as far as like programming goes, in my time with him, like, anything would have worked well for Gary.
didn't he eat like his training
fucking
sessions would be
craziest
like
thing
6
I've ever
hours
seen,
long?
yeah.
Because he would be eating like full meals.
It was just a
between sets.
Dude, it was just a so. The old time favorite quote was like, he's done competing by the time I'm training, and so we're having a bench night, and so Gary rolls into the gym with this box of Raisin Canes. You guys have Raisin Canes
we
out
got
here?
those out
Okay,
here now.
so chicken fingers, and this fried chicken fingers. They're delicious.
They are.
And so he rolls in with this box of canes with like 7 chicken fingers, this big pile of French fries, and like this 2-liter basically of Mountain Dew.
Nice.
And like hammers it. He's like, love bench night. He says, when I leave the prison in St. Francisville, it's like 45 miles away where he works, he stops at Cane's and buys this box. And I'm like, that's 45 minutes from here. That's new. Stops again when he hits the edge of town and buys a second fucking order.
Nice.
Well, I mean, you got your travel box.
And he's like, there's just nothing. He's like, look at this food. There's nothing better than this. Lean proteins and fast carbs. Nothing better for bench night. I'm like, that's French fries and chicken fingers, man. What are you talking about? Sucking down Mountain Dews.
That's awesome.
So then after strongman, after powerlifting, then
Did a Highland Games. And was
and
a much
star was
better
born.
fit. It was a much better fit for me. I immediately took to it pretty well.
Was it the skirt?
It was.
Kilt?
There was
Sorry.
any opportunity for that.
Yeah.
I just like flowy.
Yeah.
I did wear a thong under it for a contest once. People did not find it as funny as I did.
Yeah, Marissa was trying to get me to do that at my Highland Games experience last year, but then I realized that I was too slow to make the kilt fly.
Get up enough. So then you're
it
just
didn't-
wearing a thong because you wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have to wear shorts under it?
If you don't want to be a bloody wreck at the end of the day, I highly recommend it.
Okay.
Because it's a lot of stop and start.
Ah.
So the old grease just dries up and gets sticky,
Right. Nice.
as they call it.
Very good.
So
Yeah, and so I got into the Highland Games, really enjoyed it, and like anything else, did one, found more, did more, and then kind of started at the time. I was traveling a lot for work, so I would set up work trips so that I could travel and catch a game on the weekend and then drive back home or whatever it was. And so did 2009, 2010 as an amateur, and then 2011 was my first professional year.
you did amateur. I went straight.
You did. You went straight pro,
professional.
and now you've peaked. You peaked.
I did one. I didn't get last. There we go.
Someone got last.
True.
after
Someone
you?
gets last, yeah.
How do you?
And if I wouldn't have been so bad at the caber,
Yeah, I was gonna say the K-bird seemed like it really shafted you in the end. there.
It's one that you just doesn't make sense if you've done other things.
yeah, there's not a lot of transfer from anything else
How do
to
you?
caber.
How do you practice that?
I made one at one time.
Yeah.
I took 3 20-foot 2x12s, glued and screwed them together.
Okay.
So they made a square, and then I took a skill saw and shaved them down to make it round at the end.
Wow.
and it's super heavy. I practiced with it maybe twice and then never touched it again. Because doing it by yourself
The hardest part is
sucks.
just kind of getting it to balance, right? I mean,
Well,
getting
the
it up
hardest
onto your
part,
hands.
like if you're by yourself,
The
is
hardest
you've
part
got to
was
stand
picking
it up.
for me.
Yeah,
You have to get vertical.
right.
And then you pick it, right? But so
Right.
if you're by yourself, like
That's hard.
you have to put something at the base of it so it doesn't want to slide.
Right.
You don't want the base to slip out on you, and so you got to put a little tacky on your hands, lock your big meat digits around it, and give that thing a tug as hard as you can.
Right. How many times a day do you practice the caber?
Not as many anymore. As I've gotten into my 30s, it's just not what it used to be.
Right, the
But back
caber's-
then, 13, 14 times a day,
Do
no
you prefer
problem.
an extra hard caber, like certain size?
You don't want
Is
a
a caber-
flimsy caber.
Right.
That's a trick. You don't want it to
Girth or-
look like
girth or length?
length is a more impressive caber,
Okay.
in my opinion. Short, stubby caber, it's not a crowd pleaser.
Right. Well,
You don't want it to look like Lamar's javelin from Revenge of the Nerds. For you kids out there, look up Revenge of the
no
Nerds.
one in this
No, right.
knows Revenge of the Nerds.
That's a great one.
We could
Fantastic
remake
film.
that. Ogre?
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
So as you got more into the Highland Games, and I've did the one with you last year, but all the Highland Games people would say that Highland Games is the best kept secret
In strength sports, 100%.
Tell us about the Highland Games, the culture and everything of that.
It's awesome, and the reason it's the best kept secret is like most people could convince themselves that it's relatively easy, and compared to the other strength sports, like we don't throw anything that's heavy. Like 56 pounds is as heavy as it gets, and
Right.
so you never have to do an 1,100 pound yoke, which is awesome. But as far as the professional level goes, we get paid every weekend. Usually, if we go compete, and I'll compete 20 times a year. They pay for our travel. They put us up in hotels.
That's really good.
Yeah, so I'd say the course of my career, the years that I was pro for about 8, I made between 25 and 30 grand a year throwing.
And that was just, that's your hobby.
It was a hobby.
Yeah.
Yeah, I made 25 or 30 grand.
That's
It's
really
great. I got to travel around the world like an asshole with my buddies
Good. Yeah.
and compete in a made-up sport.
Nice.
What a concept that promoters of a competition would pay for the high-level athletes who will be participating to
Well,
travel there.
there's 10 of us. There's probably 20 worldwide, but there's about 12 of us that rotate in and out. Now, it's a small group, but if you're at the bottom of the totem pole of the pro group, it's a free hobby. For
Right,
sure.
right.
It's not going to cost you.
How many people enter these kind of competitions?
Pro level's invite only.
But I mean, like an amateur.
There's usually a pretty good crowd because they'll do a lightweight and then they do a masters and they do an amateur A, an amateur B, and amateur C. C would be like your novice, like has never done it before, and then amateur A is your guys who
Right. Kind of know.
should start trying to turn pro.
And
Right.
then you have multiple divisions on the women's side as well.
Right. Same thing, yeah.
At Costa Mesa last year, the very first exposure being in the Highland Games, we're warming up for the first event, and everyone is throwing towards the middle. So in this corner, the women are doing,
Yeah.
wait for distance.
It's a bit of a clusterfuck, but that's all right.
And-
Everyone's very polite.
Yeah, so let's map it out for the people watching. We've got people in this corner throwing this way, people in this corner throwing this way, and people in this corner throwing this way, and everyone else standing in the middle.
You
To
learn
retrieve.
the
How
first thing you
odd.
learn is you keep your head on a fucking swivel.
Definitely keep your head on the swivel.
If you find yourself in the middle of a deadly cockfight, you got to be ready. Dodge a couple rocks.
Is there cockfighting in there too?
I wish, dude.
That would be.
Dude, I've been to a couple in Scotland, right? And they do some wacky events in Scotland. They do a pole push occasionally, which is
What's
super.
a pole push?
It's like a to take a caber basically, and they have a rope that goes through it, and so you've got it like this, and then
Right.
you've got it the same way facing me.
Push each other like a.
So we're trying to push each other out of like a sumo ring.
Reverse tug of war.
But you can go, side to side
That's pretty cool.
in circles. It's gnarly. It's a good way to die.
Shit.
And then they also do the Scottish wrestling.
What's
So
that?
it's like basically we go like chest to chest and lock around each other like this and try to wrestle the other one to their back. First time I ever did it in Scotland is Douglas Edmund Games and paired me up with Sebastian Winter.
Sebastian Menta,
2002,
very strong.
second place world strongest man,
Yeah.
6'9",
6'8",
6'10". And I just looked and started laughing. I'm like, I'm not fighting you, dude. Let's just, you got it. You won. And so he's like, Like, yeah, man. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Like, I was like, just pick me up and let me kick my legs for the crowd.
That's awesome.
No, sea bass is a monster.
Do they
he's
do
a
any
big
of
dude.
that stuff here?
No.
He was
Every once in a while, but not as part of the contest. It's usually exhibition type stuff
Yeah.
with the novices.
Yeah, they saved the Scottish wrestling just for the after
Yeah.
hours.
Once you get nice and comfy in the hot tub.
Right. You to lock lips and arms, or just arms?
The lock lips, I use it as a diversionary tactic. If I can get a smooch while I'm in there, I'm going to get it. I think I won't force kiss a man. You are incorrect.
Anything for the win. Anything for the win.
Is that a caper
Anything
in
for
your
the win, yeah.
kilt, or you just,
Right. You grind on someone, maybe give them a mouth kiss, you've taken them out of their game.
It's not gay.
No
either,
one
'cause,
wants
like-
to fight a man with an erection.
Right. No one wants to continue fighting a man with an
That's
erection.
true. Now, if you
Right.
got the erection because you
And-
started fighting,
well, you
that's
get
a weird
excited.
spot. Yeah.
It's like a dog, right? You
blood
get
flow,
really
dude.
excited.
That's not my fault.
You get a little
I took some pre-workout.
right.
Blood flow's going.
Pre-workout and Viagra.
Yeah, pre-workout and
It's not what it used to be when I was young.
no. No, Viagra and pre-workout, that's a good combo. It's a good way to get a headache.
I've heard stories of the Viagra pre-workout attempts early 90, whenever it came out, mid 90s, 2000s, like guys were taking Viagra to see if it was performance enhancing. The Bulgarians.
Vasodilator,
the Bulgarians
yeah.
talk about- yeah. So they took Viagra, it wasn't working really well. Took
is there any-
testosterone. Then like one of the coaches was taking Viagra and testosterone, and then he just started banging one of the like volleyball coaches.
Nice. Couldn't help it.
Yeah.
Is there anything that was off limits so the Bulgarians would try as a performance enhancer?
I heard a story that one day the team finds Abajev in like the emergency exit stairwell, laying on the ground. He's like 70-year-old man, maybe like 65 at the time, laying on the ground, frothing at the mouth, just passed out. Like he would try everything before he gave it to anybody.
Attaboy.
That's commitment.
It
That's
was like,
commitment.
you know,
I appreciate
it-
that level.
I got a great. Yeah, after they probably woke him up.
Well, he
he's
was
like,
a
I have a great
scientist.
idea. I got something for you guys.
He's a scientist.
It's gonna be good. Yeah, yeah.
It's a good move.
So awesome.
Now, is it Bulgarians or West Side that have used strychnine as a?
That's not a good.
I've heard both.
Yeah.
Do
There's
they,
a guy that
do
got
they also
popped for
speak in
strychnine.
tongues and spin snakes around?
Yeah, there was a guy that popped the Olympics for strychnine in weightlifting.
That is a level of commitment. That is an unhealthy
That
level
is
of
just
commitment.
not good for you.
Is he trying to pull like a Princess Bride type thing, like a little bit of poison iocane over a long time? That way you've built up
Yeah.
an immunity,
This is exactly the scenario.
and then he can poison his roommate. I was poisoned by my constituents.
something like that.
That's a
That's
odd go. dude.
That's a movie remake that we need to get on.
Oh yeah, Princess Bride.
Maybe Fezzik.
Yeah, you're Fezzik.
Yeah.
That'd be
100%.
very good.
I go the man with
Max.
6 fingers.
Yes,
6 fingers.
that'd be really good.
Jeff, I could see Jeff as
Inigo Montoya.
or Prince Wesley. He's got the.
Oh,
You're
he'd be
Prince
Prince
Wesley.
Wesley
I'm more
for
of an
sure.
Inigo Montoya.
Maybe if
Yeah.
Jeff still had his long hair, he could have been Prince
Yeah.
Wesley.
There's a guy off screen. Mind your
Yeah.
business.
Yeah.
If you'd like to talk to him, call in.
the dread Pirate Roberts. So the Highland Games, though, you've gotten to travel all around the world: Iceland, Scotland,
France.
other places.
Went to France.
If someone's looking to get into Highland Games, what would be a good resource for them?
Good
to,
start. Honestly, like start with just Facebook groups. Like search Facebook groups for throwers groups. Find a competition and go do it. And then once you've go do one and decide if that's for you or not before you've started investing a bunch of time into it. And if you enjoy it, then you've met people there who do it, and then figure out when they're going to train and do things like that, and then get better at it. That would be
And it seemed like an incredibly welcoming.
100%. Yeah,
know,
the crowd's
community.
awesome. And I've always described it to people like you. It's everything I loved about throwing in college, but none of the bullshit that I had to deal with of I don't get along with my coach, or there's the idea of an official sport.
Yeah.
I like that I could practice and do things on my own time
Yeah.
now.
Well,
And-
everyone's there because they want to be, right?
Right.
Everyone's there because they're super talented and they've been pushed into it by.
No, look,
you know.
I mean, here's how I look at Highland Games athletes, and we've got some good athletes, and we've got a bunch of collegiate throwers. It's basically what's kind of running the pro group. But we're not good collegiate throwers. Good collegiate throwers go try this thing called the Olympics.
Right.
So the way I've always said it is, I was a 60-footer, and I think I think have I really applied myself instead of enjoyed college more. Like, I think maybe a 63, 64 could have been in the cards. I've thrown 63 with a stone, so I think maybe I could have done it with a shot. If you're throwing 65 or better, you'll convince yourself that post-collegiate is something you should give a go to.
Right.
If you're worse than I was in college, you're terrible. Like, you're a 56, 57 guy, like your entire career in college, you're not a good shot putter.
Right.
And you'll never convince yourself to go to the Olympics. So I fell right in this great window of, like, I knew I shouldn't pursue this.
Except Justin Rhodey.
Well, look, there's always exceptions, but we
4
can't.
years from 57 to 69.
Right. That's like, well,
He's a
Usain
late
Bolt's a
bloomer.
tall 100 runner. Like, he doesn't count. You don't get to play by his rules.
Yeah.
Like, oh, how do you go faster? Just run faster.
How much would Ryan Krauser beat everyone?
By a lot. Yeah, by a lot. If he could handle it. Like, of course he'd be just fine. I mean, there's more room in the trig than a shot put ring. And the stones are bigger, so you have a bigger place to smash those giant hands into.
Yeah,
he would throw 70 feet.
How heavy is the stone usually?
16, same as
16?
Yeah, just
16-ish.
around 16. Yeah. Anywhere from 16 to 18.
Is there like a standardized equipment list that they like?
Yes.
Everyone has to sort of.
No.
Yeah.
They-
Do the stones travel?
No.
They
So they're
just-
different at every venue.
They just pick one. Up
Yeah, that
somewhere?
like that field and that competition has a stone.
Right.
And so,
in Scotland, though, aren't they using shot puts a lot more now?
yeah, well, they always have.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they don't break like rocks do.
Right.
And so they throw old hammerheads or something like that, which is basically a shot put with a hole through it.
Mm-hmm.
I do not throw those very well anymore.
Yeah.
I cannot convert back. The problem is you get used to throwing a big stone, and you can rush the upper body and just smash into it. You're
Right.
never going to blow past the hand. You switch back to that little bitty ball. If you don't lead with the hip and that final bit's the hand, it just bloop. And there's no worse feeling in throwing than that miss one.
Yeah.
You can take 3 throws like that and feel like you didn't even get to try today. It's like, I didn't even do anything. Like, it's just gone. And I didn't try. It's the worst.
That was definitely the hardest part for me. And yeah, I'm not very limber these days compared to my past athletic life. And just trying to get the Braemar particularly, I was like, oh, let me just put this on the back of my head.
Just wedge it in here. Help! Ratchet strap this arm in.
Yeah, Highland Games are a great time. I think more people should look into doing them. Yeah, I was at a very long track career previously, but 2 practices. I think I actually practiced 3 times in about 3 years for Highland Games related stuff.
I mean, if you were a
One
thrower
time 3 years
in
ago
college
and
at all,
2 times
give
a
it a
week
go.
before.
You'll enjoy it. If you were a thrower, it's going to be fun, for sure. I'll be sad not to do it anymore, but wah, wah.
So we'll come back to talk about why you can't do it anymore after we take.
Cliffhanger.
Yeah, that is.
It's another great movie we could.
That'd be a good one.
So let's take a quick
Doesn't
break
make any sense.
for a minute in strength history, and then we'll come back with Matt.
Adam Nelson, the 2004 gold medalist in the shot put, shared a story with me about meeting Udo Bayer's former coach and asking him if he had made any mistakes in Udo's training. His response, "We made him too strong." And anytime you hear a world-class shot putter whose coach describes him as too strong, you know you're dealing with a true phenom of strength and power. Bayer's strength is truly amazing. Competing for East Germany, standing 6 foot 5 inches tall and weighing about 330 pounds, Bayer won gold in the shot put in the '76 Olympics and added bronze in the 1980s, and he held the world record on 3 separate occasions. The lift that Bayer's coach referenced as evidence of him being too strong is an astounding 275 kilo, 606 pound seated behind the neck press. In addition to that amazing effort, Bayer is also anecdotally credited with a 260 kilo bench press, 210 kilo power clean, 400 for 5 kilo squat, and a bunch of other insane lifts.
All right, so we're back with Matt Vincent, and I know we left you, at the edge of your seat, and Matt mentioned that he's not going to be able to continue his Highland Game career. How many times were you world champion?
Twice.
2 times.
Took 4 second places.
All to Dan.
Yeah.
Wow.
No. Scott Ryder last year got the win.
Oh yeah, that guy's a
Oh,
star.
and I took a 3rd.
I did
But there were 2 world championships last year.
2?
Took 2nd at one of them. It happens.
they're going down the road.
We're a loose sport.
Going down the road.
There's 2 worlds.
Yeah, going down the route of powerlifting.
Not as bad.
Well, you don't have like 4 world
We don't have any
championships
federations.
the same weekend. There's not 4 world championships.
No, that's not the case. There was going to be this year. There were going to be 2 on the same weekend, but I think one of them isn't doing so good at trying to promote.
Scott Ryder is a fucking stud, though.
Scott's a stud for sure.
Strongman contest against that
He's
guy.
got super knobbly knees though. And you got to keep an eye out for those things. I hope he's fucking listening. English prick. He lived in a guy's cupboard for 18 months.
Wait, in a closet?
No, cupboard, which I thought was like a pantry. And then later was explained it's like the under the sink cabinets.
What? Yeah. How's that even a thing?
Because he went to go stay with Colin Bryce for a while because Colin had gone through like a weird breakup. And so like trying to be a good buddy and go hang out with him. And so finally Colin's like, why don't you just stay here for a while? And somehow Scott moved in to under the cabinet.
Permanently under the cabinet.
For like 18 months. He said you had to like crawl in. So there'd be like knives and forks and drawers and then like his stuff. In other kitchen drawers.
This is real?
Yeah. He lived in his cupboard for like 18 months.
That's very odd.
He's an odd bird.
Clearly.
I like him though. I like that kid a lot. He's a straight shooter.
Like a guy who lives in a cupboard.
Yeah, he's fun to make fun of.
Holy shit.
So tell us about your knee situation and what's gonna preclude you from.
So the rest of my body, totally sweet. Honestly, it's a temple. My knee, however, my right knee, bag of shit. It's looks like it. I think it's like a Stretch Armstrong thing at this point. If you just pull on it, it would all come apart. So I've had since February of 16. I had a meniscus surgery, an Oates procedure, an ACL that did not take, another ACL, and a scope.
When you say an ACL that did not take,
just didn't take.
You have no ACL in one.
I do now.
Okay.
I do now. I got one, and it's good to go.
But you were competing for a while
I did.
with
I did
no
my whole
ACL?
career without one.
It's like a appendix.
Yeah, ACLs are one of those things like male nipples, not necessary. Female orgasm, rumor.
Right.
All for show.
And that's what happened. And so it's a bit worn out. And so we did the Oates procedure. And for those who don't know, it's like these big cartilage plugs that get put into your femur or whatever it is. And one of them on the inside of my knee just isn't healing, just because I'm bow-legged from years of beating the shit out of myself, which, And we got to do something to straighten the tibia so that I'm not bow-legged anymore and the pressure goes to the outside of the knee, and this should eliminate pain.
Is that kind of what Garce is getting to?
No, he's gotten like the end of the bone, like micro
Fracture.
fractures.
That's no big deal.
Yeah.
But I thought he had something with the
Oh yeah,
angle
no, they do.
about it,
They're
too.
gonna do the same.
The high tibial,
something like that.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, osteotomy. Yeah, it
Yeah.
looks like the worst thing I can imagine, but
Yeah.
the doctors seem to tell me like, oh, they've done this since like ancient Rome,
They do this on horses all
like
the time.
before X-rays.
Yeah, it takes 6
So,
out of 10 times, so you're good.
Just gonna give it a go.
60% of the time it works every
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, what's currently happening with my knee isn't sustainable for life.
Does it hurt a lot?
Yeah, most all the time, and I can't like go upstairs.
Oh,
Squat
really?
500 probably could do no problem, like as a
Right.
Hatfield style.
Right.
Go upstairs, real problem.
Huh.
Wah, wah. And I want to do more. I want to do more outdoorsy things and live and kind of be fit and kind of be able to do physically whatever I want to.
Right.
I shouldn't be limited to like stairs shouldn't be off limit for me at 34.
Yeah.
So we'll get that sorted out.
And I think something you've done a really great job of is it's easy to have an injury, especially a serious injury that requires surgery, and become so depressed, dejected about that, and kind of lose your way. But you've done a fantastic job, I think, of sort of diverting, or redirecting your energy. That okay, we can't do Highland Games or we can't train heavy right now, but you could focus on your diet and that kind of stuff. So tell us about your mindset as you approach injury.
The way I've always looked at it, right, is you can really get dragged down to and that depressed feeling. And look, man, there's moments. It's not like it's all sunshine and sausages over there, but
It's a lifestyle, sunshine and sausages.
yep, you focus on what you can do.
Yeah.
And so, okay, let's readjust. I can't squat. I can't throw. What can we do? Well, I can not eat like an asshole. I can work on mobility, and I can build my business.
Yeah.
So let's do that. Let's pour full speed into this and see how that goes. I can also still do conditioning. I can still bench. So, I mean, stick to what works right now.
Right.
I mean, look, there's bigger travesties in the world than me not being able to throw rocks in fields. Like, it's been great. Like, all of my friends in my current job and business and all this is due to I spent 10 years competing and traveling, doing something I liked. That, like, if that's the cost I paid for the life that I have now, take the knee.
Yeah.
I'm in. You know, this wasn't going to be sustainable forever anyway.
Yeah.
And the Highland Games thing and winning world titles and doing all that, while I love it and I'm very proud of it, like, it doesn't define me. And neither does my total or any of those things. And so the gym's going to be a constant for me in whatever capacity that it's going to be there. Whether that I'm going to focus on some conditioning stuff so that I can do different things like that. Or, you know, what if I want to feel like doing a bench-only meet? So do a bench-only meet. You know, but do what you can. I mean, you see guys out there like Derek Carver with one leg.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
he's not fucking pissing and moaning about it.
That dude is gnarly. He is funny as
Yeah.
shit.
I also don't have a job that requires me to roof houses or my family starves.
Right.
I'm in a great situation. So sitting there and pissing and moaning about my knee not working, woe is me.
Yeah.
You know?
You feel like that's a big problem with, like, it's so different now than, let's say, if you had, you know, Gary Frank's day, right? Like,
Right.
Where people, it seems like there's two, like, you either get involved in it, you're doing the sport, you're doing that, and you focus so much on that, and you neglect
Everything else.
that it's like, yeah, to a degree, like, yeah, you have to devote a lot of your life and time to being a professional athlete. That's obvious, but not 100% of it. There's definitely aspects that you can set yourself up for.
I don't know, because I think,
success
like, if
otherwise.
you're going to pursue, like say, like Adam Nelson, right? Like that guy, like your Olympic shot putter that did 4 Olympics. Like, that's not a balanced individual.
No.
No.
You know what I mean? And if that type of greatness you're going to pursue, it, I think, does require that.
Yeah.
Well,
I wasn't destined for that level of sport.
But I mean, do you think that there's no time for him to set up or try to slowly establish?
Of course there is.
It's kind of like people are short-sighted, and it seems like maybe more so now with more people that are shitty at what they're doing, short-sighting the idea that, like, oh well, I'll be a Fitspo model for the next 25 years. Like there's kind of a lack of planning or thought process to, like, maybe I should, like, kind of
think this through a little bit.
invest in a little bit of my future here, and they kind of lose sight of that.
I think what happens with the people, and, like, I'll just use Olympic level, like track athletes and stuff like that as, the real example. That there is such singular pursuit, and there isn't this idea of, like, oh shit, I can't do this forever.
Right.
What's next? And I think part of that, it's like, if you've got the same personality that's going to be able to push and be singular focused for 16 years on a thing, you're also not the same personality that's like, I'll spend the other time during my day not thinking about shot put.
Yeah, that's true.
That Venn diagram doesn't overlap well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I kind of wonder, some people too, like with powerlifting, where it's like, powerlifting is different because there's really nothing beyond
there's no end game.
Yeah, beyond the World Championships of Las Vegas, and you've won that 14 times now. And
Set 73 world records at your second meet.
Yeah, like
living out of your car to compete at the SPF.
If you can outbench him and outpull him, who's the man?
Right. You're the most hardcore guy in the world. Yeah, and just kind of like, it just seems like there's more prevalence of people, selling their future short because they're just not focused on.
Like, if Ed
establishing
Cohn
anything
didn't
there.
have to be living out of a van and be an asshole, like, neither do you.
Right.
Yeah.
He did that by choice, though.
Right.
That's Ed. That's classic Ed.
Yeah, Ed's great. But I agree with you, man. Like, I think there should be a little bit more focus on a well-rounded life.
Yeah.
And that's really what's always I've always thought about. And for me, it's always been like, man, I want to travel. I want to spend my time around awesome people doing neat, fucking unique life experiences.
One thing that's been interesting to me is that my exposure to, like, weightlifting was super regimented. It's like you got to train. The thought was everybody trains 7 days a week, 365 days a year for 10 years. They sacrifice everything. The person who sacrifices the most and trains the hardest gets to the top. And what's been kind of eye-opening is, especially with the top-level people, is it's kind of been not as true. You know, when we met, like, Ilya Ilin and Klokov, they talked about taking time off. And sure, there's extenuating circumstances that change that for people. You know, maybe they're doing something they shouldn't be doing. You know, there's doping. But how much of that is sort of in a position where, yeah, they do have this time, these breaks, you know, that allow them to kind of facilitate other aspects of their lives. It seems like, yeah, it's here people kind of get sucked into it, and it's like 100% like, you know.
The trick is what you see those guys doing is toward kind of the twilight of the career do that.
Yeah.
They're still on top
at the
enough
top,
that there's
sure.
enough credibility.
Yeah.
But we're also in a weird spot, man. Like, the social media thing didn't exist 10 years ago.
Right. Yeah, so it's like, it's different, right? I mean.
Yeah, it's easy for a guy like Klokov to put on a big show in minute clips.
Yeah.
The guy's crazy impressive.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but without social media, he's not doing what he's doing.
Right.
Like, I don't fucking know that guy's name.
Yeah, he's just another strong Russian guy.
Right. So, hey, I think there is some to it, man. And, like, I like the balance of life. And part of the truth is why Highland Games worked for me is it didn't require that. It didn't require me to train like it's my job. There were days that I did, and there's definitely a lot of time that I put in, but I liked all of it. And it came very natural. It was a sport that applied very, very well to the skill set that I have.
Yeah.
And so I played to my strengths very, very well.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there's definitely a point where I reached, like, this is going well enough. What's some of the, let me do less so that I can do more of this.
Right.
Yeah, to use it as a vehicle to get other things that you're, you know, do other things that you're interested in doing. And I think more people need to look at powerlifting, particularly because it's a hobby. You know, there's no such thing as a professional powerlifter. There ain't ever going to be such thing as professional
really riches disagree with that 100%.
But yeah, you know, you're
They've got Corvettes.
You're not going to go to, you know, go to buy a house and be like, well, here are 6 Powerlifting Watch World Record certificates.
They are nice.
Please accept these as legal tender.
I
will
that
take
doesn't
my
work
mention
that
now.
way so good. Yeah, it's not ideal.
Best lifter at the meet.
Yeah.
That's Grass Valley Championship right there.
Right. That is worth 30 powerlifting bucks.
What's the exchange rate of a powerlifting buck to a weightlifting nickel?
Depends on the power of the yen. Yeah. It's based on the weight of the yen that year, and I mean how many hot dogs you could buy. Who knows?
Yeah.
Let's take another quick break for a get to know me minute, and we'll be back with Matt.
When I decided to start lifting, it was something I'd always been interested in. You know, from being a little kid, seeing my oldest brother Adam in high school football, and you know, like I remember when they could do like the pec pop thing, and I thought that was like the coolest thing ever. And I thought my brother was so big and strong, and then in hindsight, he was like 5'11", like 170 pounds, but to 5-year-old version of me, he was huge. So I remember seeing him and his friends lift, and I had like a weight set in the garage, and I was just always really into it, you know, from them and seeing, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger movies like Commando. Probably saw a VHS of Commando that we recorded from the TV, so like you could still see that little end bits of commercial, and maybe the next one after the commercial would start like 5 seconds too late because my brothers weren't paying enough attention to press record again. But seeing that and the Rocky movies and stuff, I was always really interested in lifting and interested in being like the biggest and strongest possible. My mom told me that when I was a little kid, you know, 6 years old maybe, I was in Sunday school at church, and they did the story, the David and Goliath story. And you know, at the end of it, the teacher asked, like, well, all right, kids, well, who do you want to be? And obviously you're supposed to say David because, you know, he's the good Bible guy and he wins. But I like raised my hand. I was like, I want to be Goliath. And it was because he was really big. So I always thought that was cool.
So as Matt was talking there about, you know, getting to travel the world through Highland Games and you know, how that's affected his current brand. You've recently, I mean, you've been an entrepreneur on the side kind of as a while, for a while, but now you're all.
Yeah, I'll go. I started Hate Brand in 2000, I guess probably 12 is like when I first wrote a book, which wasn't really a start to Hate Brand. So I talked about like the idea of the idea of the hate that kind of sparked the brand, and then had enough people that I guess had read the book at that point that felt like I should make some shirts, and I was like, I don't want to do that, and then it snowballed. So now I have an apparel company based on it, and that started in October of 2014 was our first piece of apparel, and now this is what I do for a living. But I had another really good job and career that I'd spent like 6 years at. 6 years at that job, 10 years total in the field in petrochemical industry doing outside sales. And so it gave me a really cool leeway to start a business because I didn't need the money from it to pay my bills.
Right.
So I never had to do things that I thought like question some integrity of what I wanted to do, either design wise or what we wanted to put out. Which is
Question of integrity design wise, like assless chaps integrity?
mostly assless chaps, but more bedazzled chaps.
Oh.
All chaps are assless.
Have you ever tossed someone else's caper? That was you.
That's
really
a no-no.
Shameful.
A lot of people, once you've kind of dommed a caber,
You don't let anyone
you own
touch
that caber.
it. Okay.
Yeah. It wears a little necklace that says slut. It's
Caber walks around
Yeah.
holding your pocket.
how did chokers come back in stock with the little ring on the front?
Yeah.
That's a bondage tool. Like
Oh.
that's been around a long time. That's so your mouth stays wedged open and you can still bang their mouth.
Okay.
Like
well,
that's
There's a lot of,
This
there's
is
a
now
lot
a
of 12
fashion
There's a lot of
thing?
12-year-old girls that would disagree, but
I feel like we digress. We digress.
Sorry. So next up for Hate Brand Good, chokers. So it just kind of continued until in March of this year, the people I was working for, and I knew writing was on the wall, that at some point they hadn't shown any real interest in pursuing the area that I was hired to grow.
Mhm.
And it's tough to be an outside salesman without the people to sell in the area. So everything, it's how it worked out. And so eventually I just knew that they were going to let me go. And so they did. And I've just jumped full force into what I was doing already, but now don't have the anxiety of like, when are they going to fire me?
right.
So it's nice. There was some stress, but what are you going to do? Now I get to do whatever the fuck I want to every day.
Yeah. That's pretty
Relatively speaking, it's not like I'm swimming, not Scrooge McDucking around swimming pools of cash or anything.
Right.
But I have a small pool in the backyard and it's warm.
Cool. There you go.
I think, when people talk about being their own boss, and I've been doing Juggernaut now for 8 years, and it's of course fun and it's great. I can never imagine working for someone
Oh,
else,
it'd be really strange again.
but it is very difficult to not let it consume you at times, because you're your own boss and you can take a vacation whenever you want, I guess, but
Yeah, but you're always working.
yeah.
Yeah, I can always leave town, but I'm always on call.
Yeah.
I don't ever get to say like, fuck it, I'm not answering emails for a week.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't exist.
It's almost like the difference between being self-employed or having a business.
And the best
Right.
way I've ever heard it, right, is being self-employed is awesome, but now you're choosing to work 90 hours a week for you
Yeah.
instead of 40 for someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm happy with it. If this works out indefinitely and this is what I do, awesome. I want to travel more and meet more awesome people and lift in places and eat food and see the world. That's what I'm planning on doing. Make videos about it.
Apparently videos with designed for people with short attention spans.
That's what they say. That's what they say. It's 98% bullshit, 2% information. I try to keep that lower than that, actually.
I don't know if they're 1% snuck in there, but
Yeah, I like that they doubled the information output I'm trying to go for.
So what are some things that the near future maybe has in store for Hate Brand?
So we launched our coffee brand, Habit Coffee Company, about a month ago. So that's going well, and so that's
I
one
have some of that.
Yeah,
It tastes very good.
very happy with how that's gone. So we're working on doing cold brew and doing a canned nitro, and then working with step one. Kind of is that's something that I can actually push locally to me.
Yeah.
And get like in stores and shops around Baton Rouge and see what I can do with it in that direction. So that'll be a fun new thing that Hey Brand's not going to do. I am never going to have a storefront. It just doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Like, why do that?
It would be like having a gym.
Yeah, like friends in Baton Rouge that are like, oh man, there's this thing downtown. Like, you should have a pop-up. And I'm like, why would I do that?
Yeah.
Like, I don't house my inventory, so I have to ship stuff to me to go do this and then ship it back. This is a terrible plan. Doing that, we're working on just trying to expand Hate Brand to more of a lifestyle thing, so a little bit less gym apparel across the board and some more other stuff that I could wear not so much in the gym. But we'll see how it all goes,
There's been a topic over the concept of the world's strongest hipster. A playlist that I have on Spotify by that title, but I think both you and I have used the hashtag.
I think that's
before.
fair, yeah.
And
I always went with world's fattest hipster.
well, I would definitely.
But
beat
that's
you in that
definitely not
case.
true, though, because, man, I have seen some slopopotamuses out there rocking around.
I guess it's a sliding scale of strength to hipsterdom. Where
You got way more strength than I do.
and you definitely have way more.
Way more hipster.
Yeah.
Which
If
one's
our
way
powers
heavier?
combined, though, we're like a fucking Voltron of strength hipster.
How much hipster could you be, and weakness could you have? I was in Oakland the other day, and saw a man with a beret painting
and a
on
leather
the sidewalk.
apron.
Yes, painting on the sidewalk like.
What do you have a leather apron for? You don't
look
work
like
in a
cartoon
machine shop?
character. Yeah, it's like
You make coffee.
the belts. They always have like there's people with these like belts like
Yeah.
looks like from like Game of Thrones or something.
That's good look.
Runes and stuff they
Yeah,
pull
it's
out.
good
like,
look.
Yeah, that level of hipster, but like very mediocre strength or
Like curls 100 pounds.
right. That'd be very high.
That's
I
one
don't
end
think
of the
this
bell
man could've
curve.
curled 100 pounds.
Yeah, that's one end of the bell curve. Zydrunas Savickas is the other end of the bell curve.
Is Zydrunas
I heard
Savickas put
occasionally
on-
he listened to the XXs, so I mean, that's his street cred. I don't know if they're cool anymore. You've probably never heard of the band he likes.
He only listens to it on. He only listens to it on vinyl.
Well, 8-track over there. It just gets piped in on Soviet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think between the two of us, we've got it wrapped up.
Oh yeah.
Cast your votes. World's strongest hipsters. Call in.
I'm not very
Taking
strong right
calls.
now.
Yeah.
The call center is live.
Yeah. Call in now. We're taking your calls.
Yeah. So you guys are doing just expanding the coffee, clothes. You
Yeah,
guys-
just kind of growing it all, right? And like, I mean, the other side of it for me too is I really enjoy doing the YouTube stuff that I've done. I really enjoy trying to document. I enjoy editing footage, and I like shooting, and so that one's one. That, I mean, look, it all drives the business, but I really like doing it. And the way that it kind of started was like, man, I kind of know everyone. I travel a lot. Like, this life's not terribly normal, and I want to show off that. Like, I'm not so locked into this. Like, I'm only in the gym. I'm
Yeah.
so fucking my schedule's not so fucking fragile that I can still get the work done. Even hurt right now. That what I can show is that I am going to train every day. I'm going to do something, and still live my life. I don't have to be so locked into this thing that I can still have these cool relationships with awesome people in the strength community, and I don't have to be so locked in that, like, no, dude, I can't go tonight and do anything because I have to train tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
If I don't hit my 3 sets of 3, this whole
Right,
training
right.
cycle's a fuck. Like, that's not how it works. And for me, at the level I'm at right now in the sport, being kind of retired, I guess, dude, training for me is effort. And as long as I can put in effort, I'm going to be fine. And I mean, look, there's a difference if you're trying to be the best in the world at something. But I think there's some reality checks that would be really useful and help people be a lot happier if you could be aware that maybe that's not in the cards for you.
Right.
Like, I think because strength sports are something that everyone can kind of get started and get involved in and see this big growth immediately of like how you got so much stronger in your first year. And people think that compounds, that like, oh, I added 100 pounds in my squat this year. 6 years from now, I am sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've added 600 pounds.
Yeah.
But, like, if I told you guys that my passion in life was playing basketball, and at 34 with this bum Lee, I'm going to commit and find a coach and get a nutritionist and spend all the money I've got to my name going to basketball camps and hire an NBA guy to come teach me. I'm not playing in the NBA.
Wait, that's
Like,
not
I don't
a
have
good
the
idea.
tools in the chest to even start.
You know, there was a guy who was really into the 10,000 hour rule.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So he's trying to do, like, sneak it in?
It was golf. Yeah, he was 42, 43 years old, and decided he's like 10,000 hours from now I'm going to be a professional golfer, having like never played golf before. I haven't stayed updated on him, but my guess is that it hasn't gone well.
No. He's definitely not a professional golfer.
He's Tiger Woods. That's
right.
the moral. Of
Yeah, he's now, he made it, and there you go. That's how you become the best.
Too,
Yeah.
For 1995.
All right. We can give you the secrets.
So, Matt, where can people learn more about you?
My YouTube channel is Matthew Vincent. It's very formal. And then my brand.
Do you have a middle name?
Peyton.
We're big on middle names, right?
Yeah, Peyton. Payton. Like Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Me and that peanut head shaped guy, both rocking the same name. But he's the best.
10,000 hours.
Think about that, dude. 10,000 hours right there.
19.
You know what I say? People who want to like go to business school or learn all that to become entrepreneurs. LeBron James didn't go to business school, and he's a millionaire.
That's true.
Think about that. That could be you. You can find my brand at thehate.com. That's the HVIII, like a Roman numeral. .com. That's become a real pain in the ass over the. Didn't think that one through when this all launched off.
You thought you were so clever.
It's a real mistake. The best is getting emails from people that want sponsorships. I'm sure you get a fortune of them.
Yeah.
And then misspell the name of the brand in my.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not sponsoring you from an Instagram direct message.
I'll get Juggernaut with the NAUGHT.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dude, like, be a hair more professional. Like, put together a fucking resume if this is what you want to do. Show me. Here's how sponsorship works, just as a little rant. I want to invest in you so that I see a return on my investment because you're out there doing things under my name.
You sponsor almost everyone that I coach now.
That's true. I think it's basically how it works. Yeah. Yeah, slap some T-shirts on them. It's good to go. But, like, if you're someone with 500 followers who post every other week and don't compete in a sport, like, what do you bring to the table for me? What new demographic do you think you hit that I haven't got? So you just want free shirts? Is that what you're asking me? Like, no, man, I'm good. But that's, yeah.
What about on the Instagrams?
I hate Matt Vincent. Spelled the same way.
So that's H
VIII.
number 8.
Yeah. That one. That's how you do it. Just like the way we voted for the no hate thing. Prop 8, no hate.
Prop 8.
Isn't that the gay marriage one?
Yeah.
Nice. I know what's up. I follow news. I read Reddit. Is that not the news? Is that not what everyone else does?
That's the best place for news.
I do that in Instagram.
Max.
I don't keep up with much.
You can find me on Instagram, Max_Ada, or Facebook. If you get questions about Juggernaut coaching, email us at, or you can go to the website,
JuggernautCoaching.com.
It's a good
There you go.
place.
Straight from the horse's mouth. Or any more information about the programs or whatever, you can message us on Facebook or Instagram or even email max@jtsstrength.com.
The old-fashioned way. Also, make sure to check out Max's new book, The Weightlifting Technique Triad. It covers, really help you understand better why good weightlifting technique is good, and how you too can have good weightlifting technique through proper exercise selection. That's available at store.jtsstrength.com. Beyond that, juggernautcoaching.com for all the online coaching. Subscribe to the YouTube. Go over on iTunes, give us a 5-star review. Now the JuggLife is on Spotify as well.
What?
I'm Chad Wesley Smith, at Chad Wesley Smith and at Juggernaut Training on Facebook and Instagram. Filling up your news feed all day. Matt, thanks for joining us, buddy.
Absolute pleasure. Stoked to be around. I got these sweet biceps going on too now.
All right, we'll see you next week.